I'm a physician, retired. My main specialty was female cancer surgery, and in that I had the opportunity to meet a fair number of Catholic nuns. There is an occupational hazard for them to develop masses in their uterus, but that's another story for another time. Being a Catholic kid, I ran into a lot of nuns through elementary school all the way through high school, but no experience with them prepared me for the force that was Sister Denise. I met Sister Denise in my office. I walked in, there were two nuns. She was sitting on the exam table. Older woman was there next to her. They both had their habits on. And I introduced myself, and she said that the other lady was her house supervisor, and she was just there for moral support. So we had some small talk, and then I said, look, we're gonna leave so you can get into a gown without an audience, and we left and we're out in the hall. The supervisor was what you'd expect in an older nun. She stood there like this, and she said, we are very worried about Sister Denise. She's in a lot of pain, and we want you to take care of her. And one thing I want you to remember, she has a very unique approach to life and everything else. Okay, cool. So do I. So I walked into the room, and the first thing I was struck by was the fact that she had her habit off, and she had naturally red, spiked hair, and two pierced earrings on each side. All right, kind of unusual, but we'll go with it. And I said, okay, sister, this is what's gonna happen. She said, call me Denise, and I'm gonna call you Tim, if that's okay. You bet, all right. She said, look, what's gonna happen? I said, look, I usually don't put the cart before the horse like this, but I reviewed your imaging studies, and you have a large pelvic mass, and you're gonna need an operation. She says, okay, is it gonna mess up my butterfly? Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I said, I don't understand what that means. She looked at me and winked and says, you'll see. I usually didn't get upset or scared about anything, but sweat started to run down my back because this was a nun, for crying out loud. Okay, so we go through the exam. I pull the sheet down and I look, and there by her right hip bone is a little yellow butterfly tattoo. I said, the operation isn't gonna bother that. We'll be fine. So on the day of surgery, I go in to see her in the pre-op area. The anesthesiologist had given her a little something to mellow her out. And the first thing she said was, I'm a little pissed, Tim. They made me take my jewelry out. I said, well, that's standard procedure. We use electricity, blah, blah, blah. She said, can we get together after this is over and after your busy day is finished and have a drink someplace? I said, yeah, you bet. We'll go and do that. And as they took her away, she yelled out, McGuinness, if you screw up my tattoo, I'm gonna sue you for everything you got. The anesthesiologist said, wow, drinking, ear jewelry, and a tattoo. She must have had one hell of a life before she got in the convent. I said, man, she's gotten this since she entered the convent. Okay, so we get in. She has a terribly involved pelvic mass. And the long and the short of it was she had to go through chemotherapy and radiation, and she was gonna have an uphill pull. In fact, when one of my colleagues presented her at a tumor conference, two other GYN oncologists from another hospital said, why are you wasting this woman's time? She's a dead woman. I don't know about you. I don't want someone like that taking care of me or somebody else I care about, because if they've given you up already, who needs them? Anyway, Denise went through and sailed through this, and she said, look, Tim, all I wanted to do is get to my 25th Jubilee. That's the 25th anniversary of becoming a nun. I'm gonna do something really special. All right, she did fine, went to her Jubilee, came into the office and said, yay, check this out. She got a 14-inch long stem red rose on her calf. Really nice, okay? So she was rocking along, and I saw her a couple of times a year. She'd come in with a new piercing. She had a belly button ring, a very fine gold ring in her nose, and continued to do very well. But in the field of oncology, we don't win as often as we'd like to, as you've heard earlier this evening. We all have an expiration date, even Sister Denise. But the great news is she has another 25-year anniversary, and that was being a cancer survivor. And that's great news. And the good news is, in keeping with the theme tonight, in that period of time, she's been able to get a few more piercings and a couple of really cool tattoos.